Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CHI and welcome to the CHI INNOVATE conference series for this year. I'm Huntim, the Clinical Director for CHI, and we're very pleased to bring to you the third installment in this year's conference series, and that's Healthcare InnoMatch 2022. With me is my great friend and our co-host for the second year running for InnoMatch 2022, and it's none other than Ms. Tamsin Gulick-Smith, the Director of the School of X in Design Singapore Council. Welcome again, Tamsin.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Hello, it's lovely to see some real people in the audience again, huh? And no masks, okay. And welcome to those of you dialing in from your office or home. We're delighted to have you all with us today. It's great to be back. The grand finale of InnoMatch, the Healthcare InnoMatch for 2022, proudly brought to us by Temasek Foundation and the Ministry of Health, and in partnership with the three public healthcare clusters, SingHealth, National University Health System, and the National Healthcare Group.
Now, after our first successful run last year, we've upped the stakes. So we've doubled the number of contestants and finalists here today. We've doubled the prize money. And because we've put out a very good and broad theme called Delivering Care Beyond Hospital Walls, we found out that we also received double the number of applications compared to last year.
I know, it's amazing. 256 applicants from across 32 countries. That's quite astounding, from those little seeds. Today, we're going to meet the top 8 finalists. So the top 8 from 256, we know they're going to be of a high standard. They're vying to receive a share of $2.4 million. Wow, the stakes have gone up. I'm very excited. No pressure on the judges, okay? But they'll also not only receive funding, they'll receive the opportunity to test bed their solutions in one of the healthcare institutions. So that really is very powerful for a startup.
Now, we're going to introduce you to our panel of judges soon. They're a bit off screen to my right down here. But before that, let's watch a video clip that will chronicle that journey till today. So let's watch that video for CHI's Healthcare InnoMatch 2022.
Even in this day and age, startups have to navigate a maze of silos and single lanes to get their products exposed and test-bedded. And we as healthcare providers are not always easy to access, and we all use our own different evaluation frameworks. So really, the adoption and the spread of innovation in Singapore could be a lot faster and a lot less painful.
So we started thinking if we could assemble the consumers of healthcare innovation onto a unified platform, we would then convert those frustrating single lanes into an expressway, and what more if we got healthcare providers to use a common evaluation framework for test bidding and adoption. That led to the idea for CHISEL, and with strong support from our partners, we kicked off the journey.
So we reached out to the world with our challenge, and we called it the Healthcare InnoMatch. And we were amazed by the responses that we got. It became very daunting, but enjoyable to narrow them down to pick the best of the best.
The Ministry of Health is delighted to be part of Healthcare InnoMatch 2022. As part of Health ESG, we want new ideas in population health, especially in the areas of primary and community care. We look forward to working with you soon.
Temasek Foundation is happy to partner the Ministry of Health and the healthcare clusters. Together, we have created the Healthcare InnoMatch, which is a platform for global crowdsourcing of innovative ideas in healthcare. Through this platform, we hope to bring innovative solutions into the hospital and have them test-bedded. When they are found to work, we will then roll them out to the rest of the healthcare system. This way, we will be able to achieve impactful and positive healthcare outcome for our patients.
Our key mission in IHIS is to transform healthcare with smart technologies. We welcome fresh ideas and new strategies to improve Singapore's health tech capabilities. CHISEL's Healthcare InnoMatch gives us a valuable opportunity to look at the solutions of tomorrow that can be applied to challenges in public healthcare. We will continue to work with clinical and industry partners to inspire, integrate, and scale solutions that can benefit our patients and the wider population.
The CHISEL InnoMatch finalists have wonderful and quite stressful opportunities to pitch their products to Singapore's 3 healthcare clusters in just one seating in front of a live audience. These winners will be fast-tracked to become test bidding partners with our public healthcare institutions, and we are going to do our best to find great health innovations for Singapore.
Indeed, I hope all of your appetites have been suitably whet by that great video. Okay, with such an overwhelming response to this year's Healthcare InnoMatch, I think our judges are really going to have a tough time choosing. Okay, top 8, yeah, much tougher than last year. So perhaps I can take this opportunity to introduce you all to our esteemed judges who've got the tough challenge ahead of them today. Perhaps I can start with Mr. Alan Goh, on my far left over there, Assistant Chief Executive from IHIS. Blah, Freudian slip, no? Can we give him a lovely welcome, please? Thank you. I need more coffee, Alan. My teeth aren't in properly yet. Next to Alan, we have Prof. Lee Chien Ern, Assistant Chief Executive, Deputy GCO, Regional Health System from SingHealth. Could we please welcome him? Thank you. We then have Mr. Lim Hock Chuan, Head of Programs at Temasek Foundation. Welcome, thank you. Mr. Chua Song Kim, Deputy Chief Executive from NUHS. Thank you so much for coming. Mr. Colin Lim, CIO and Group Director of Infocom Technology and Data from MOH. Thank you, welcome. And certainly last but definitely not least, Prof. Eugene Fideliso, Deputy GCO Integrated Care from National Healthcare Group. I hope you're all looking forward to this morning. Thank you for coming.
Well, judges, we're now ready for the teams of the 8 finalists, and now each team during this competition will present a 3-minute video pitch, and that's going to be followed by a 7-minute rapid-fire Q&A. So make sure you don't blink. It's going to go fast and furious. Our timekeeper is going to signal with the first ding as for 1 minute left. There we have it. And the second one, that means your time's up. All right, you got that? Okay.
I wonder, Hunter.
Yes.
Could we maybe hear from some of the judges who weren't in the beautiful video?
That's
because
right.
I really did enjoy seeing all these performances, but I think there's a few that need to tell us something about what they're looking forward to this morning.
Indeed. So we heard from 3 of the judges in the video. We heard from Alan, Mr. Lim, and Colin. So now it's time to hear from the other 3 judges who happen to be the deputy CEOs from the 3 public healthcare sectors. We know them well. So let's start with Chen En then. Chen En from SingHealth. What are you looking for this year, in this year's winners? Who will stand out as a winner for you?
Okay, I think the few key things I'm looking for is the potential to be really transformative, not just in terms of the product itself, but in terms of its ability to be spread and scale, and the ease of usability across the various sectors. Because as we move out into the population, there will be different settings and the ability to transcend a particular setting. Yeah.
Shinan, indeed. I think it's great to look beyond just the innovation itself and to see whether it's got legs, whether it's got sustainability as well. That's where a lot of innovation has failed to take off, actually, after their initial flash in the pan. Thank you very much. Next, let's get Song Kim from NUHS. What are you looking for in our solutions this year?
Yeah, so I think we actually, in addition to what Chen En just mentioned, how to ensure that when we have these solutions, they are actually be able to help us with timely interventions, so that we can actually not just provide quality care, but also in terms of improving health as it is. Hence, also the spread beyond hospital into the community, into the individuals, and we're going to see some innovative ideas out of this. Thanks.
Thanks, Song Kim. Well, the message is coming loud and clear to the contestants. Yeah.
Absolutely. How about Eugene? Any thoughts from you? What would you be looking for?
Well, I agree with Chen En and Song Kim. I am particularly excited because, as a health system here in Singapore, we are undergoing very rapid and transformative change towards healthier SG, and we are taking care beyond our walls into our community. And what I would like to do is to tap into the agility of the startup companies that we have here and the small, medium-sized enterprises to be able to scale this transformation across our entire ecosystem and ultimately to improve outcomes for the population as well as to make care more sustainable such that we can enjoy better access to good care. So looking forward to the challenge and looking forward to learn from all of you as well.
That's wonderful. And that's really about leveraging your inherent strengths as a smaller organization to be agile and scale. Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
That sounded our judges are pretty much in sync,
Oh,
actually.
they're ready to go. They're ready to go.
Great. All right. So as I said earlier, we're going to have a 3-minute video pitch followed by a 7-minute rapid-fire Q&A from each of our contestants and our finalists. Now, our judges' job would be to select 6 finalists, up to 6 finalists from the 8 today. But audience, you have a role to play too. After hearing each team's pitch and Q&A session, you get to vote as well. For our physical audience here in the auditorium, you may scan that QR code that you see now on the screen in front of you. And for our online audience in the offices or maybe even at home, hopefully, just navigate to the Audience Power tab on the right of your screen and click the Polls button to cast your vote. Now, the audience choice will not or should not have any bearing on the judge's decision. It's good for fun, but the audience, you'll be allowed to vote just for one favorite, but fret not, you can actually change your votes as the competition progresses. And we will keep the vote and the polls open until we close it at around 11:40.
Don't worry, we will remind you when you have a countdown of making your choice. So we're looking forward to seeing the audience's vote. We're really looking forward to seeing the judges' votes.
Yeah.
So without further ado, should we let the finale begin?
Here we go.
Good luck to all of the finalists. Okay.
First up, contestant number 1. Biggest nervous moment always for the first contestant, so let's give them a huge round of applause when we bring them on stage. Let's call upon NUHS, which is the world's first and only patented neuroscience technology that's been clinically proven to reduce stress and improve sleep quality without the aid of medication. So let's watch their video pitch.
Population health is a strategic asset for Singapore. NUHS is a strategic resource for delivering care beyond hospital wall. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chi Hui. I represent NUHS Singapore. Stress has been a prevalent issue in Singapore. Before COVID-19, we spent $3.1 billion annually and 160,000 annual inpatient due to stress-related illnesses. During COVID-19, situation worsened. Widespread of burnout, fatigue, depression hit us. Our healthcare workers quit their job. Stress is now at epidemic level. There's an increasing gap between stress demand versus healthcare supply. An effective stress care solution beyond hospital wall is needed to improve population health. The solution needs to be clinically proven, safe and fast-acting, predictable and repeatable, easy to deploy and easy to use, without drug or any side effect. Is there a solution that meets all these criteria? Yes, NUHS. NUHS is the world's first and only patented neuroscience technology, clinically proven to reduce stress and improve sleep quality without drug. It comprises of 3 components. 1, patented neuroacoustic software track that pays your brainwave down to optimal recovery zone. 2, proprietary biosignal processing disc that slow the nerve activity. And 3, light-blocking eye mask to block out visual stimuli. It only takes 3 simple steps to expedite recovery with NUHS. 1, apply the NUHS biosignal processing disc to the left wrist. 2, you play the neuroacoustic software track. And 3, you put on the eye mask. It takes less than 1 minute to self-administer, and within minutes of application, you start to feel the relief of stress. NUHS has 4 deployment advantages to delivering care beyond hospital wall. 1, the result is fast. 2, every session result is predictable and repeatable. 3, it is immediate mastery because it's so easy to use. 4, the technology is scalable. NUHS is a proven technology trusted by many. The deployment capability is fully tested and ready for mass market rollout. This slide shows some of our clients. Doctors are using NUHS to manage stress, anxiety, depression, and PTSD. During the coaching phase with Sengkang hospitals, we identified an area for test bedding, non-drug pre-op anxiolysis, resolving anxiety before operation and improving patient outcomes and experience. Sengkang hospital clinician went ahead to draft a study protocol they're including randomized control trial. NUCOM is ready for test bedding. Following our NUCOM proven application in various healthcare categories, NUCOM is safe, clinically proven, and ready to scale. I'd like to share with you what Healthcare Services Employee Union Executive Council say about their NUCOM experience. Ms. Yam Simian say, I feel calm. I've never felt so calm before. Ms. Kamala say, my mind and body feel relaxed and refreshed. This is just after one NUCOM session. Think about what we can do for our patient. Thank you very much.
Great. There you go, judges and audience. Our first finalist, which is our team from NUCOM, and they've already joined us on stage. And please welcome Mr. Chung Chi Hui, who's the CEO, and Mr. Samuel Chan, the Director of Business Development from NUCOM. Round of applause, please. Congratulations for making it this far. Now that we've seen your video presentation, let's commence with our 7-minute rapid-fire Q&A. So let's get ready. First, I'd like to invite Song Kim from NUHS to pose that first question to NUCOM. Song Kim, over to you.
Yeah, thank you for the interesting video of what the NUCOM is about. I think certainly it's addressing issue that many of us have faced, right? Especially in today's environment. Just one question on how, we have also seen some of these products actually, in terms of trying to reduce stress, helping people to be more relaxed and sleep and all that out in the market. So how does your solution actually differs from what we can see out there in some of those commercial products already, in use?
Okay, thank you very much for the questions. One statement, NUCOM has been used in surgery to replace general anesthesia for 2 million surgery. So that makes us different. 2, we are patented. We have 2 patents assigned to us. 1 is to maintain autonomic nervous system balance, and 2 is the device and method to manage your brain, to guide the brain waves to elicit the physiological response. Now, it works every time. NUCOM works every single time when you use it. If you go to App Store to trying to download binaural beats, it's profound, but when you're in high stress, binaural beat cannot bring you down. You need to wait until the adrenaline effect die off before it can guide your brainwave down to maybe high beta or sometime into alpha zone. But NUCOM effectively can bring you down to theta and even delta, which is deep sleep if you wanted to.
Okay, thanks.
Maybe we'll bring up Chen En from SingHealth. Any questions for NUCOM?
Yeah, it works, but what is the period of that is sustained? Because like you said, in surgery, those kind of things without anesthesia. So how do you, what the fellow wakes up in the middle or something like that? So how long is the period? So if I use it, I feel more relaxed, but is it sustained? And yeah.
The longest surgery you ever have was 7 hours, 40 minutes with NUCOMs. Okay, so in the general stress environment, I'm talking about general user environments, people can feel the relief immediately after you use it, and it can last for days. But in surgery environment, as I say, 7 hours, 40 minutes, the longest we ever use.
Okay, and because the topic today is beyond the hospital to the community, and what your testing is in the hospital, so what's the applicability outside, in healthcare, but outside the hospital?
The particular test bedding was selected by the clinicians. Okay, initially we proposed to have 2 different sections. One is to take care of the healthcare workers. We have a recharge centers in the hospitals, and then we have recovery centers for the patient to use it, because it is so easy to deploy. You can deploy to any household or even to the community center as a recovery centers or relax centers for them. Just imagine, we deploy NUCOM from urban city all the way to war zone, and we can even deliver the solution when Ukraine is in war. That demonstrates how easy we are to deploy. Okay. I hope I answered the question.
Okay. Okay. So you're thinking of both patients and also healthcare workers?
Yes. In fact, everyone, patient, healthcare workers, and the primary caretakers of the patient. Please don't forget the primary caretaker for the patients, because they are often the one that depressed, that is helpless. They need to take care of the patient, but they have no avenue to relieve their internal angst, stress, and anxiety. So that is also the target that we want to save and help.
Yep. So actually, when we approached healthcare side, we approached healthcare services employees union because primarily we actually wanted to help the healthcare workers because of all the news about them being stressed. So that's also where, when we approached them for the experiential trial, we actually had that the quotes from them after their first session itself. You saw the quotes that earlier on we showed on the video. They actually felt from the very first session.
One more question. Any of the judges would like to pose a question to the NUCAM team? Yes, Mr. Lim.
Well, congratulations. It's a very interesting product. Can you share with us very briefly what is the underlying technology for your product?
Okay, I got 2.5 minutes left, so I try to be very quick. So 3 components. 1, the patented neuroacoustic track. What it does is that it is using pitches, frequency matrices, advanced binaural signal processing, vibration, and also an underlying algorithms. We call it nonlinear dynamic oscillation algorithm. These 5 combine to entrain the brainwave down to theta or alpha or any brainwave that you want to go effectively every time. Now, brainwave is very complicated. You cannot just take the brainwave and drop it down to let's say theta zone, because you will create something called calm-induced anxiety. Okay, so this is one, the brainwave. Okay, which is the electrical side. So, and then your biochemistry side, the biosignal processing, this will send electric signal frequencies. Okay, it's passive, but it's activated by the Gauss field of your body. Okay, it will signal the hypothalamus. Okay, and down-regulate the hypothalamus because the body will naturally signals to produce GABA A, GABA B, L-tyrosine, L-theanines in order to relax the body. It also activates the vagus nerve and also to relax the body. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Time's up, gentlemen. A round of applause for NUCAM, please. The NUCAM team, Mr. Chung and Mr. Chan, you may return to your seats. Thank you very much. And thank you, judges, as well. Audience, there you have it, number 1 out of 8 finalists. And before we bring out our second team, a gentle reminder that it's time for you to vote as well. You may feel that it's a little bit too early in the game, but please feel free to vote as well, because you can change your votes as the competition goes along, right? So once again, in the online audience can vote by clicking on the Audience Power tab and then looking at the poll button, while the audience here can actually just scan the QR code. Okay, great.
Well, so we've started with an interesting pitch, very interesting conversation. Thank you all.
Possibly the future of GA.
Wow, very interesting. Let's see how our next finalists fare against that. Can we call upon FathomX? They've developed an AI assistant that improves the mammogram screening procedure by enhancing both accuracy and efficiency. We'll start with their video pitch.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Galvin Lin, Business Development Director of FathomX. What is the issue we want to address? Breast cancer is still the #1 killer in women. The best way to reduce the mortality of a breast cancer is to have an early detection and early treatment. Based on the study from 1988 to 2008, the age standardized incidence rate of breast cancer is doubling every 10 years in Asia Pac, as you can see from the chart itself, from the age of 50 to 79 years old. Hence, in the near future, the demand for breast screening activities in Asia Pac will increase. On the other side of the spectrum, there is a shortage of a breast imaging specialist across Asia. What are the 3 top main concerns that they have? Increase in patient volume, variability in the staff expertise, and also increase in the staff workload stress. With this demand and supply gap, we believe our AI FX memo will be able to provide the solution to fill the gap. But how do we do it? After the image is taken and stored in the PAC server, it will send it to our AI server, and our AI server will produce a heat map to show the region of interest, generate a malignancy probability result, turn out a report for a radiologist to vet through, and finally come up with the diagnosis report for the patient. So why FathomX? What are the validation that we have done to deserve this? First, we have made a comparison with Breast Screen Singapore. We are able to show a reduction of false positive by 20.5%. Second, we have done a comparison with Breast Screen Australia. We are able to show a reduction of interval cancer by 38.7%. In order to show that our AI is not localized in Singapore, we have done a multi-center study across 8 different regions in Asia-Pac, and below are the results. Our algorithm has proven that we are able to read better and more accurate for Asian women who has dense breasts compared to our European competitor who has a FDA and the CE certification, and below are the results. In the last few years, we have developed many collaboration partners in Asia Pacific. We hope that Singapore can be our region to use our solution in Asia Pac and showcase it to the world. In conclusion, we hope to partner with the different healthcare groups to deploy a scalable, efficient, accurate AI system. And in our milestone, what we hope to achieve is we want to show a 10% reduction in false positive, 10% improvement in cancer detection, and an AUC comparison between a trainee radiologist with AI against a breast imaging specialist. That's all for my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Temasek. So I'm delighted to welcome here Prof. Michael Hartman and Prof. Feng Meng Ling, both co-founders of Temasek. Thank you so much to you both for joining us today and for your video pitch. You now have 7 minutes in the line of fire from our judges. Okay, best of luck. Perhaps I could start with Colin. Any questions for the team here?
Thank you very much for this presentation, very exciting. Maybe I'll switch gears instead of focusing on the science to talk about the business. What's your business model and do you have an exit plan?
So the business model is very likely going to be per scan basis. So it depends on if you think of it as an efficiency tool or an enabling tool. So in an efficiency tool setting, which would be typically a developed healthcare system where you have 2 radiologists reading, our solution would replace 1 radiologist, which then comes at a certain cost value. So then depending on the GDP of the country, the cost per scan would then range for somewhere between $1 to maybe $5 to use our tool as compared to about $20 to $30 for a radiologist. Exit plan-wise, I think there are a few. Either we IPO within a certain number of years as a company by ourselves, or we partner with a multinational at some point in time.
Quick follow-up question. So in the first example that you gave, would you say your customer is therefore the hospital?
So tell me again?
In the example where you said you reduced the number of radiologists from 2 to 1, would you then say your customer, the buyer of that service, is the hospital itself?
Actually, so if we take Singapore as an example, Breast Screen Singapore, which is run by HPB, funded by MOH, the customer then ultimately becomes the government because the government funds MOH and HPB. So we would then replace 1 radiologist in a government-funded screening system. In a hospital setting, it's then about reducing false positives and reducing false negatives, not necessarily replacing a radiologist, but providing boundaries of a secure diagnosis without increasing the cost to the hospital in terms of unnecessary work.
Yeah, I may add on a point, beyond hospitals and nationwide screening programs, it can also become an enabling technology, as Mike has mentioned, for small radiology clinics, initially who may not have breast specialists to read breast images. This AI in those developing regions could become an enabler, to enable them to provide this service for the first time. And another potential customer could be the insurance company that do the pre-screening before they decide the premiums for their clients, etc.
Thank you, Hans. Song Kim, any questions from you from the NUHS side?
Yeah, thanks, Felix, for I think addressing this very important aspect of our needs in Singapore too. Right, moving away from the efficiency productivity part, just in terms of acceptance, just how would you see professionals like radiologists accepting such a solution, right? Because I think today we rely a lot on our radiologists to actually do this work, right? So how do you see that, and how do you assure them, in terms of the accuracy that we are talking about and the confidence level?
Right. So I think it's an 80-20 rule. There are going to be yay-sayers and naysayers when it comes to AI, especially for computer vision and medicine. We have really robust data to provide an AUC. The AUC gives you both the likelihood of finding cancer and excluding cancer. So what we found is that when you provide the data and you allow them to validate within their own data systems, we find great buy-in. There's skepticism in 20%, and there is acceptance in most, because the problem a radiologist has is that they put their medical license at line every time they read a breast image, because there may be a cancer inside and they may miss it. So having the AI to provide boundaries for them actually gives them reassurance.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So some interesting questions so far. We have time for another question from any of the other judges. Anyone with something burning they're dying to uncover here? Thank you, Eugene. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much for the presentation. My question really pertains to the fact that there are many AI imaging solutions out there, and perhaps you know of your competitors and you know of what is in the market. What makes your product different from the rest?
Yeah, a very good question. We are aware that we do have a number of competitors around the world. Actually, we know them very well because we all started in the same competition that hosted by the US Warehouse in 2017. We are the #1 in Asia and top 5 in the world. And all the top 5s are having their companies now along with us. But a lot of our competitors, they're still focusing on the Western or Caucasian population. Our company, we envision to develop a customized and specialized tool to serve our Asian women. Of course, Mike can share later on more. For Asian women, we have a higher percentage of population have a denser breast. On the mammograms, it reflects as that the background of the mammogram is a lot more wider, and the lesions also wide. So the radiologist had to pick up wide against wide. So it was a very challenging task for both the human radiologists and for AI. And our AI is specially trained for the Asian population for more dense breasts. And on that, actually, in the slide just now, we have a trial conducted with the Japan National Cancer Center Hospital that showcased and contrasts us with the performance of a European competitor. And our AUC is a margin above them on the dense breast population, and showcase that Western AI doesn't work for Asian population.
Left, if there's anything you wanted to add to that answer. If not, I hope that the team has done a good job of answering the judges' questions. Thank you so much to Prof. Michael Hartman and Prof. Feng Meng Ling. Thank you. And if I can encourage you to take to leave, but thank you. I would just like to say I love the phrase yay-sayers and naysayers. I may be borrowing that again later. Thank you so much. So I think the audience at home, at work, and here can vote if they like. If you've been impressed by that solution, please do vote. Otherwise, I think it's time to meet our next finalist.
All right, number 3 is our second AI-augmented solution. So let's invite and see US2 AI, which is a mobile device that automates the fight against cardiovascular disease this time with machine learning. Let's watch the video pitch.
US2 AI is on a mission to automate the fight against heart disease, which in Singapore takes 1 in 3 of our lives. And in fact, heart failure is the top cause of hospitalization among our elderly. The tragedy is that we have effective treatments to prevent heart failure, hospitalization, and death, but only if the diagnosis is made early enough. You see, heart failure is often underdiagnosed in primary care, where 1 in 6 of elderly present with breathlessness and actually have undiagnosed heart failure. The diagnosis is missed for months or years, and they end up presenting with an unscheduled hospitalization. If we actually actively screen patients at risk for heart failure, such as patients with diabetes, we would find that 2/3 have asymptomatic cardiac dysfunction, and more than 1 in 4 could have undiagnosed heart failure. The problem is that there is no access at the moment to echo in primary care. And this is despite the fact that echo is a key part of the diagnostic pathway recommended in international guidelines. Echo is usually performed by this big cart-based machine in cardiology centers, and though safe, it is slow, error-prone, costly, and difficult. As a result, there are great inefficiencies in the heart failure diagnostic pathway, where patients have to wait for up to 12 weeks to be referred to a cardiologist and 4 to 6 weeks after that to get their echo appointments. Us2AI offers a solution and offers a way to improve the clinical workflow and increase access to echo in primary care by fully and reliably automating echo analysis. We offer AI mobile echo that both guides the acquisition and interpretation of echo, enabling non-experts to reliably make the diagnosis of heart failure early. We have already shown that this is effective in an 800-patient Glasgow study, where the use of AI echo reduced the waiting times for echo from 12 months to 4 weeks, related to great increases in efficiency in the diagnostic pathway. Here, we also showed that handheld AI echo was cost-effective compared to the standard full-stack echo, easy to use and integrated with the clinical service. Our software has been fully validated to the highest level, showing interchangeability and accuracy with human experts. We have also externally validated and have regulatory clearances around the world. We believe that echo is where ECG was decades ago, that just as simple AI moved ECG from cardiologists to GPs, Us2AI can enable echo to be moved to general practitioners and to put healthcare and heart care into everyone's hands. Thank you.
Great. And with us on stage now are Carolyn and James, the co-founders of Us2AI. Let's start off with that 7-minute inquisition. Let's start off with Eugene from NHG. Any questions for Us2AI?
Yeah, I just thought to say hi to my classmate, Carolyn, declaring potential conflict of interest here. But nonetheless, you know, you will tell from my question that I'm excited about us moving into primary care, and you know how hard is it to get an appointment to see a cardiologist these days. So my question really is pertaining to this shift to primary care. You know, what is that care model that you anticipate? What is the improvement in the outcome that you anticipate by going upstream? And ultimately, is there a cost effectiveness in this whole design of your whole care model and business model?
Prof, thanks for that question. And it is, in fact, the crux of how do we actually change workflow, which is not that simple. So what we've done is go stage by stage, and what we're doing now is doing a fast track. Even at NHCS, we have completed a pilot where we show that offloading the long echo time, offloading it into a specialized clinic where we use our AI immediately shortens the wait, at least for echo. So we're inching towards getting it to the primary care. But I really, really think it's time now, because we've already done also another study overseas that we're about to publish, where we got novice nurses to do an echo, because the AI guides the acquisition as well as the full interpretation. To be frank, my 7-year-old can come in and do it. We've got a video of him doing the echo. It's that simple because it's very safe, the technology is ultrasound. So we're inching towards that and building the education around it so that we've got a certification program to get nurses to do it, and then piloting it in the heart center and moving it out. So we do think it's time to change the practice.
Great, thank you. Next, Alan from IHIS. Any questions from you?
Yes. Since your solution is AI-based, how do you handle and manage the AI accuracy? Because things like model shift over time. How do you handle that?
Sure. Thank you very much for the question. So one of the things we've done is we had the good fortune to work with tons of data from both throughout Asia and around the world. And what we've shown in a recent publication in the Lancet Digital Health is that our models work everywhere, on every nationality, across, on every echo type, from your pristine core lab type of echoes to real world stuff. And we've reached the point, frankly, of diminishing returns. So throughout all of these diverse populations, the accuracy is high enough, we've shown it's completely interchangeable with experts, that we're not afraid of model shift, frankly. We've tested it on enough different populations, and frankly, we're now shifting towards new disease types because of the given accuracy of our current solution.
Okay, thank you.
Right, we've got time for more questions. Any of the judges, would you like to ask James and Carolyn any other questions?
Maybe I could ask. You said that there's already a trial together with the Heart Center. Is it possible to share some of the prelim results, or how closely then is need to be integrated with the primary care side?
Yeah, thanks for that. So the trial is actually completed as a pilot at NHCS, and Dr. Huang Wei-Ting, I wish I could, is really the one driving it. We are now gathering the results to be presented as an abstract, and so I couldn't put the unpublished results, but basically it's to show that the AI echo is of course feasible and as accurate as the cart-based. Now that one is actually already proven in our FDA validation study and so on, but everyone wants to see the local data and so on. So that is already done here. The study that I'm talking about is the Cumin study, and it's done in Tunisia. That is really unique because it's not just a doctor or a trained nurse, it's really a novice person holding the probe. And that we really wanted to push the boundaries to show that we can, within one day, train novices to capture and screen effectively in the primary care. But we closed the loop by having a fast-track referral back to the Heart Center. That's how we plan, by the way, I should have said that earlier, of completing the whole workflow loop.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Lim, yeah.
Hi, just a quick question. In terms of commercialization of the product, how close are you? Have you gotten FDA approval, HSA approval for your prototype?
Yes, thank goodness I got the scars to show for it. So we have FDA. Interestingly enough, the CE mark was the one that was most, difficult. And we have of course, HSA and in Australia and Mexico and so on. So we're at the point of clinical implementation worldwide.
Right, any other questions? If not, a round of applause for us2AI. Thank you. Showing us the future for echocardiography. And Carolyn, please send your child's CV to the CEOs. We'll work out the child labor laws after that. Yeah. All right, audience, the time is yours again to vote, both online and here as well. All right, don't forget to vote for your favorite finalist.
So the great news is we're heading towards a very quick 5-minute break. So those of you that are desperate for the washroom, the moment is nearly nigh. However, before we do, we're going to hear from our 4th finalists from a company called Miracle. Their solution, WIZ, manages chronic respiratory conditions by increasing the availability of medication delivered into the lungs. So let's play the video pitch and find out a little more.
Asthma and COPD affects more than 600 million people globally. It is a chronic condition that can't be cured, but can be controlled with medication and management. Current methods are flawed, as half of patients inhale wrongly, so the much-needed drugs end up at the back of their throat and not in the lungs. Most also don't take them regularly and have poor compliance. Because of this, 7 in 10 still have poor results, causing worsening of symptoms, twice the number of hospitalization, and 3 times higher treatment costs. Children are most vulnerable, especially in Singapore, where 1 in 5 have asthma. This is Chris. Her mom, like many parents, have shared their wish for a device that assures them medication is inhaled correctly while motivating their child. Introducing the WIZ, a simple, intuitive solution to achieving good asthma control. The WIZ helps ensure that medication is delivered deep into the lungs. The light indicator guides Chris visually in real time, showing when she's inhaling at the optimal rate and when she's not, allowing her to adjust her inhalation with every breath. The WIZ is paired to a mobile app to simplify medication routines. The app tracks intake and sends reminders on schedules. To help motivate Chris take her medication consistently, the WIZ incorporates an easy-to-use rewards function with the flexibility of setting customized goals. The data collected can be easily shared with a doctor, allowing them to conveniently evaluate her progress. This accurate and objective data also helps doctors adjust treatment more effectively by distinguishing patients who really need a change in medication from those who need more guidance. Our value proposition for patients is to reduce the risk of exacerbation, thus reducing clinical and financial burden. For doctors, the data helps them better assess treatment pathways and improve patient engagement. For payers, to optimize healthcare resources and save costs. The WIS is the only solution that solves technique and compliance at the same time. It is also brand and inhaler agnostic, allowing the flexibility for doctors to prescribe any medication to be used with it. Smart inhalers help to monitor compliance, but tracking is a non sequitur if medication is not delivered correctly in the first place. Regular spacers do not offer any feedback, with minimal innovation for the past 20 years.
Join us as we help 600 million patients breathe easy. Thank you.
Thank you, Miracle. And we have here Rachel from Miracle. Thank you so much for joining us today. Are you ready for your 7-minute grilling? Yes, she's ready to go. Perhaps I could come to Mr. Lim first to open up the judges' questions. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, Rachel. Excuse me. Congratulations, it's a very interesting product. I have a few questions. Number one, what do you need to do to get the 5 green light on? In other words, what is underlying technology? Is it volume of airflow, speed of airflow? What is it?
Okay, so we know that the pathway from the mouth to the lungs is like a 90-degree.
Yes.
And so because it's not a straight line, there's actually a precise breathing profile that one needs to accomplish in order to guide the aerosolized medication particles deep into the lungs. So from what we've gathered, it is simplistically is airflow, but we are guiding them through that the breathing in of the medication. So yeah, that's the underlying technology.
If it's airflow, either air volume or air speed.
Yes.
Is this calibrated for different ages of children? A 2-year-old, I would imagine volume airflow is different from a 10-year-old kid, and the same device is used.
Yeah, so it's not calibrated on the patient, it's calibrated with the medication. So because the inhalers actually produce aerosolized medication between 3 to 5 micrometers. So we are actually guiding the aerosolized medication into one's lungs. And it's precisely because the young kid, as compared to an adult, have very different breathing patterns and profiles. That's why we have to guide them in order to get everyone to breathe in the exact same motion to get those drugs into the lungs. Yeah.
So assuming your product is well received and you want to scale up the deployment,
yes,
what do you foresee are some of your challenges to scale up the
I think we have found out that different countries have different healthcare systems and how they deliver care, right? Some like Europe is fully reimbursed, and some like Australia is over the counter. So I think we need to work with the different countries to align ourselves with the methods that they use. But I think particularly to Singapore, because we are a Singapore-based technology born and bred, and so the reason why we feel that this would be a great opportunity for us is because it helps us to align ourselves with the workflow and to understand the needs of the doctors as well in terms of the data that we're going to give them and how they can fully utilize it to optimize their treatment. Yeah.
In terms of price point, you mentioned something in your presentation, $298
yes,
for 2 years.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Okay, I think because we are trying to compare ourselves against 2 different groups. One is the smart inhalers. They are out, they are newly out in the market, but they only help with compliance. They are charging over $300 over a 2-year span because it involves the subscription of the mobile app as well. And also against what is currently being used, which is the regular spacers. So those don't have any feedback. And considering that each spacer can only be used for 6 months, they will have to rebuy every 6 months. So we wanted to show everyone the long-term benefits as well as the long-term costs, and not to judge our technology just based on the first cost that you meet. Yeah.
So you're not going for a subscription model?
We do have a subscription model also, but it's less than what the competitors are going for. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, Rachel. That was a grilling opening round there from Mr. Lim. Thank you so much. Perhaps I could come to Prof. Eugene. Do you have any questions for Rachel?
Yeah. Interesting device. I'm looking at it, the real product here on the table. And one of the areas you mentioned in your proposal is that you test-bedded this with children and it works well. And the adult population is another area that you would like to really get on board your technology. Adults, we travel around a lot.
Yes.
And the bulkiness of this can potentially be a problem. So the question I have for you is that how are you going to sell this to me as an adult? And what does it mean for me to be able to have my medication with me, but yet at the same time, it's very portable and it's user-friendly.
So the reason why it's also oval is because we want to make sure that you can put your inhaler inside. So maybe it helps you remember to bring your inhaler. But I guess the adult population that we are really looking into are also the elderly. They have also problem with the correct technique. We realized that children actually inhale too softly and the elderly is actually too hard. So these are two extreme population groups that really require our device. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Some interesting human-centered design principles there. I wonder, do any of the other judges have any questions for Rachel? Yes, thank you, Alan.
Yeah, given that your device seems to be relatively simple to use and simple to understand, are you also pursuing a direct-to-consumer model besides working with the hospitals?
Yes, definitely. I think in jurisdictions like Singapore and Australia, definitely will have access to patients directly, and also in these places, the pharmacists also have more control of training people. So definitely.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Well done, Rachel. You survived. Thank you, Rachel Hong, Chief Technology Officer and founder of Miracle and Wiz. Audience, you know what you need to do. I see phones coming out. Yes, please vote for your favorites so far. You can still change your mind if you wish. You'll have a chance to make your last-minute change of vote if you wish before we finish seeing all the finalists. I think we've got a quick break coming up.
Time for break.
So 5 minutes, please. Please rush back. There is another slightly longer break coming up later where you'll have a little bit longer time to stretch your legs. So please bear that in mind. We'll take the break and come back to see the remaining 4 teams later.
All right, catch you all later.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second half of Healthcare InnoMatch 2022. Now, for the audience who's just joined us, whether live here at the CHI Auditorium or online, this is Healthcare InnoMatch. We have got 6 very distinguished judges from Temasek, MOH, IHIS, SingHealth, NUHS, and NHG. They're here today to select up to 6 out of our 8 finalists, and these 6 finalists, or the winners, will walk away with up to $2.4 million of funding, and more importantly, the opportunity to set up a testbed for their solutions in 3 of Singapore's public healthcare clusters. Now, besides the judge's choice, we also have the audience popular vote as well for our online and our on-site audience. You get to choose your favorite team, and you can do so, once again, by scanning the QR code on the screen here or in the Audience Power tab on your online screen, and look for that poll button in that tab to cast your vote. Okay, if we're all ready, let's go for the second half again, all right? And we'll start off this time with our 5th finalist, Presage by Connex. Presage is a privacy-preserved elder care monitoring platform with fall prediction capabilities. Let's watch the video pitch.
More than 85% of elderly emergency department admissions are due to falls at home. As our loved ones age, we begin to wonder, how can we prevent them from being just another statistic? How can we keep our loved ones safe?
In a pilot program, we monitored 10 high-fall-risk seniors living at home. What really surprised us was that 80% of them fell within the first month. Some even fell multiple times a day and were readmitted to the hospital or the nursing home. How can this be prevented? The next 6 months are crucial, as they will determine if our elderly can age in place safely for the next 10 years, 20 years and beyond by using Presage. Presage is the outcome of a successful collaboration with Tan Tock Seng Hospital. We have since moved into nursing homes and now residential homes. Our vision goes beyond detecting falls, but really to prevent falls in any environment. A solution automated with artificial intelligence and image processing techniques. We are now able to obtain never-before image-based information of elderly in a continuous yet privacy-preserving manner. Moving forward, we are ready for the next step, fall prediction.
The value of a fall prediction solution in the home environment is multifold. Our care team can obtain accurate and targeted information remotely as the patient recovers and gets better at home. With such a predictive system and armed with the data available, the clinical team will be able to deliver personalized intervention to the patient, preventing falls, readmission, and reducing utilization of healthcare resources. The future is one where Presage will accompany the patient from hospital to home, enabling the same standard of care and safety regardless of where they are.
Presage can be bundled together with home nursing care packages, so that patients can be discharged earlier to recuperate at home and age in place for the long term. The future is one where Presage will accompany the patient from hospital to home, enabling the same standard of care and safety regardless of where they are. Falls must be a never event, be it in hospitals, nursing homes, or residential homes. Presage will make that a reality.
Round of applause for Presage, please. We've got their CEO, Ms. Sui Yen, and Dr. Ong Poo Lee, the Associate Consultant from Tan Tock Seng's Rehab Medicine Department here. So thank you for joining us, both of you. All right, Eugene, let's start with you. Any questions for Presage, please?
They are keeping me honest about
They
this.
are, yes.
Thank you very much for participating in this InnoMatch. So we work together in the hospital setting, and that seems to have worked out well. And that is because there is the nurse there to catch the patient before the patient falls, right? And you have a predictive model to enable a lead time for the nurse.
Yes.
How does that work in the community? Because there's no nurse there. And how then do you monitor that such that there's enough lead time for us to check in on the patient?
I think in the last pilot program, what we have found in the events leading to an actual fall, what we have obtained, very evidence-based, is that there are significant deviations and changes from some of the biomarkers that are displayed, because Presage being a non-contact, non-intrusive and continuous device that is always monitoring the patient 24/7, we are able to track their basic living patterns in a very longitudinal manner. And based on the past pilot program where we have successfully validated the fall detection, events leading to fall will show us deviation in those patterns. For example, changes in sleep-wake cycle. For example, the speed of moving between places. For example, for some of the patients, we have seen that as high as 90% of the time they are spent in sedentary position. and they suddenly display nocturnal behavior or hyperactivity days before leading to the fall, and they continue to display those activity and behavior for days in a row, we believe at some point in time, if we were to get a care team to find out what is causing those changes, perhaps the fall can be avoided altogether. So this is something that we have made sense of from the past pilot program, and we strongly believe collaboration with clinical partners will then enable us to identify those contributory factors that we can identify days before an impending fall happens.
Maybe allow me to actually add in a few points from clinical perspective. From clinical point of view, I think this device has great potential, especially in the future. It's not just fall detection and fall prediction per se. What it can analyze is actually have the capability to analyze the behavior pattern of the patient, the sleep wake cycle, as well as the physical activity of person. So whenever a patient actually stays alone at home, especially there's no carer around, this device actually can capture all these disease or activities that will actually allow us to detect any recognitions of these frailty progressions or any disease, early detections of disease such as like UTI that can actually cause functional decline, which potentially can be subclinical and may not be, and potentially can be unrecognized by other community nurses, for example. And this actually allow a trigger alarm systems whereby the nurse actually can go and review these patients, whether there's anything that can be reversed at a point of time to a thorough checkup. So with these early detections, that can potentially provide early interventions, and that will allow the early treatment to be given. Then with that also, in fact, this device actually can allow titrations and monitoring of medication based on the report that generated by the device. Yeah, so it will be very beneficial in terms of the carer, the patients, as well as the clinician's perspective. Apart from that, I would think this device eventually, when deployed in the community, it can actually stratify with all the data. It can actually stratify in terms of the disease severity, for example, frailty, mild frailty, or pre-frailty, in fact, with all the data that we have in mind based on the physical activity of the patients. And all this will actually, hopefully, we can actually reduce the readmissions to the hospital with timely referral to the specialist whenever necessary, and hopefully we can improve in terms of the physical conditions and overall ADLs, and patients can actually age well, live well at home in a community setting. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Eugene, any other questions? Yeah, a follow-up?
Excuse me. I have a few quick questions. Watching your video, I can understand how your device can be used as a fall detection thing, but you're explaining it can be used for prediction. Am I correct to understand that this is achieved through back-end analysis of all the data captured by your device? It's not a live thing where you look at it and you just show a red buzzer to see it's about to fall, right? So what you're basically saying that your device will capture certain data, and that will allow you to do back-end analysis to predict that he's likely to fall. But while you're doing your calculation, the patient may have fallen. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So in this particular program, what we hope to achieve is that while the reports as well as the analysis is done, carried out post and done in the back end, in the long run, with sufficient data mining and with sufficient AI being trained on the models, we hope to be able to predict those events automatically through AI and push that information to our clinical partners, depending on who in the ecosystem, based on a certain matrix, where we will then design a suitable clinical intervention later on at the next stage. But for this particular program, you are right, we are going to do the analysis in the back end. Yeah.
So being a thermal imaging system,
yes,
how do you handle the presence of multiple persons captured by a device?
Okay, that is a very big challenge for us. We have come a long way in both the hospital setting, nursing home settings, as well as the residential home settings that we have captured so far. We do have residents staying with next of kin. And for patients who are moderate and high risk, we have observed and also learned that the movement speed, the gait, are different
from the rest of the next of kin within the household, and given a longitudinal time of us learning the patterns of them, we are able to differentiate between the different parties. And with that being achieved and as an ongoing fine-tuning process back to the hospital, we are then able to deploy Presage in a multi-ward setting, etc.
One last question.
Yes.
How much are you expecting this to cost?
Okay. Currently, we have done a pilot program that initiated with a group of patients from a hospital setting, and it's bundled with home nursing care because we are pushing out to patients right now who otherwise would be institutionalized to a nursing home. It's in a range of 1,000 at that time. However, it was a pilot program, and a lot of feature customization, building up of the model, as well as the intervention triggering program was developed in that price point. From then till now, because we have already gone through extensive non-recurring engineering effort in building that up, we have since brought the cost down quite significantly. And going forward, I think there are multiple ways in which we can continue to look at ways that we can bring that cost down, when we will then be better positioned to tackle the consumer market.
Thank you very much to the team from Presage. A round of applause, please. Great. It's nice to see they debuted a much earlier version about 3 or 4 years ago at this conference, so it's nice to see them progressing along.
Fantastic.
All right, the audience, don't forget to vote if you're in favor of Presage. You know how to do that by now.
Well,
Okay.
I think we can see the judges are warmed up, Kay. We have 3 more teams to go. Without further ado, we're going to hear from the next team, Q2X Magnetic Mitohormesis. I hope I said that correctly. This is a device that provides safe and easy muscle activation, improves user fitness, function, and independence. Let's find out more through their video pitch.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ivan from Quantum TX, and I'm excited to share today about how we're using years of research into quantum physics and mitochondrial biology to change the way we recover, age, and even exercise. Today, we're here to talk specifically about how we can use small mitochondria activating magnetic fields to enhance post-stroke recovery and hence reduce the long-term cost of disabilities for healthcare system and society. Every day, there are 26 new strokes in Singapore. Recovery is slow for these 10,000 patients, and even after 1 year, 1 in 2 will face chronic stroke-related disabilities. These 80,000 stroke patients cost the healthcare system $180 million each year, as well as place hundreds of millions of hours of care burdens on members of society. Unfortunately, recovery in the community is challenging and progress is slow. Out of 6,000 patients entering community rehab, only 22% make further progress. Getting the right quantity and quality of exercise is very important, but the compliance to rehab exercise programs can be very challenging, with only 1 in 20 still compliant at the end of the first year. Magnetic mitohormesis provides a unique opportunity to improve the quality of muscle activation and the quality of recovery adaptations. The patented solution from NUHS activates the mitochondria directly, creating more energy needed for training, recovery, and regeneration. Activated muscles also react by further releasing myokine signals that encourage the recovery at the systemic level. This provides more energy and myokine signals that can enhance training as well as recovery outcomes. In pilot sports injury studies, we have shown that weekly sessions improve muscle energetics and regenerative signals. This leads to recovery trends that include reduction in deconditioning and 25% faster return to baseline. Our community studies with hundreds of seniors have also shown significant improvements to their functional capacity, with between 14 and 27% improvements in their balance, gait speed, as well as lower limb strength. Pilot data from a small subset of 18 chronic neuro-rehab patients also show similar gains, and we enabled 15 to 30% of patients to achieve MCID benchmarks for improvements in their gait speed as well as their 5-time sit to stand. Our goals would be to scale and validate these benefits amongst the wider chronic stroke recovery population. Each magnetic mitohormesis session is brief 10 minutes and can be easily integrated into existing community rehab programs. Our devices have been designed to be safe and easy to use, and in the long run, we expect to be able to provide our devices as a simple rental model to DRC operators, where the cost of operations could be spread by a larger volume of patients. By potentially enabling 10% more stroke patients to achieve functional independence, we are looking to save tens of millions in healthcare costs as well as millions of hours in socio-economic burden. So in summary, we're excited about how our novel muscle mitochondria activation devices have helped hundreds of seniors and believe that applied widely to chronic stroke patients has the same potential to improve their quality of life and make a significant positive impact on our healthcare system and society. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Oh, can we have a round of applause for Ivan there, please? Are you sure, Ivan? Are you sure you're looking forward to the questions?
Yes.
Okay.
You can come and try.
I'm going to start with Qian, if I can, the first power question.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Very interesting project. And I just want to confirm, because you said you have done it in different population of users. Has it been actually tested with stroke patients per se, or is it now you've tested in other populations and now moving to stroke patients?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So we actually run a center over at Alexandra Hospital right now, where we have users coming in on a regular basis. It's a demo center. Out of that population, we typically get about every 80 to 100 patients or users every week. Out of that group, they are typically about 60 to 80 years old, and we do have a subset of neuro rehab patients. So stroke recovery patients, patients with SCI, typically recommended from different rehab clinics as well. So they do come in. What we enable them to do is actually reduce their deconditioning, actually help them on their recovery process by activating their muscles as well.
And is it specific to parts of the body, or can it be, because the pictures are
Yes.
lower limb?
Yes, exactly. So we target the lower limb for one or two reasons. Number one, a lot of times with the elderly, with stroke patients, the biggest challenge to actually transiting to active care is lower limb immobility. So by targeting that directly, we see the most effects in the legs. But at the same time, there's two parts to our technology. One is the mitochondria activation. The second is the myokine release, which is the regenerative signals that your muscle produce when you exercise. We actually leverage that in a weekly basis to ensure that patients can recover faster. So the signals that are sent out by your muscles for muscle rebuilding, energy, metabolism improvements, these are all triggered by your muscles. So we target the lower limbs because this is the biggest chunk of muscle. So we actually get the amplified kind of signals coming up from the muscles to encourage recovery as well.
So have you worked out what's the duration of treatment needed, or is it just you have to continue as long as you can, kind of thing?
Yeah, thanks. So this is something like exercise, right? So with exercise, you need kind of regular basis to kind of transit. We are not a replacement for exercise, but we're a supplementary tool that can increase muscle activation and encourage you on your recovery basis. We have run our program for the last 2 years, and we know that right now, most of the time, within 3 months, if you block it out within 3 months, we can actually detect 70-80% of the population improving their balance and function. We see this improve over longer term periods as well, especially for quite frail and stroke patients as well. So we do envision that typically for a stroke patient, you need maybe about 3 to 6 months of active, not just rehab, but supplementary with our device really will help them in terms of the recovery.
Yeah, thanks.
Great,
Okay.
thank you. Great opening questions. Thank you. Song Kim, do you have anything to ask? It will come.
Hello. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. So something very I would say product that is well used, that we need in the community, aging population, right? Especially the stroke incidents that you talk about. What in your experience in AH, for example, that you have tried out, in terms of how you have supported the therapists, right? Have they been able to show that they have actually able to sort of be more effective in terms of the efficiency, manpower that they are using? That's one. Secondly, also, you are focusing on stroke at this point of time. Can it also be extended, or how effective it is extending into more maintenance, for aging population, people who want to improve on the mobility in a frail state? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chua. So maybe I take this question in the reverse order. Over the last 2.5 years, we've actually been focusing a lot in the community. So we've actually been working with DRCs, day rehab centers. We've been working with senior activity centers to implement our devices as
not so much maintenance, but a transitionary tool to help these elderly improve their function. So as long as we can reduce muscle pains, we can reduce joint pains, improve their muscle mass, and we have some very interesting data in how we can actually improve muscle mass gains as well in just 3 or 4 weeks time. So we have been doing that a lot with the elderly, and I think there's a great opportunity to do that. We have, of course, within the community rehab setting, we've also been working with some of the rehab PTs. So over in Meta Welfare Center in Tampines, we've actually helped them in their daily day rehab programs. And what has happened is actually their patients are more compliant, number one. When their muscles are looser, more active, they feel more relaxed, and physiotherapists, they always tell us don't need to work so hard, so they're very happy. Yeah, so I guess in many ways there is room for us to improve the productivity for the care providers, but of course our goal of this study is also to see to what extent we can evaluate that. So what we're trying to do now is look at the functional outcomes within 3 months, within 6 months potentially, and then kind of see, okay, with and without our device, what's the difference as well. So then from there we can evaluate the productivity gains for the DRC partners as well.
Okay, great. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions from any of the other judges at all? Any burning issues you'd like to uncover? It takes a while to warm up. It's a bit like me. It hasn't had its coffee yet. The
Yeah.
system. Here we go.
So sorry about that. But very interesting. You're moving from hospitals into the day rehab centers. Is there any chance this design can be more portable into the homes of our patients?
Yeah, so I'll just take that
okay.
quickly. So there is yes, definitely we can shrink it, we can make it in the home device, but the reality is right now you don't need it in the home setting because you only need 1 session each week, 10 minutes. The results that we see are just 10 minutes 1 week. So it's more cost effective for us to share the device around with a community, and that's why we've been working mainly with the community setting and implementing as a shared model. So that helps to drive down costs as well.
And having more sessions, is there?
Once a week is good
That's
enough. You
good enough.
target that, you adapt and recover over the next 2 days. It's
So
not
it's not the more the matter,
yeah, it's
right?
not the more the matter. It's kind of like
Okay.
exercise. You don't want to overdo it as well. Yeah.
All right. So you do it once and then you exercise the rest of the week.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ivan, thank you so much. Thank you to our judges. And I'm wondering whether I could use it to help my marathon training, but that's a side issue. So audience here, use the QR code if you'd like to vote for that solution. Audience online, you have a power button, so please do use it if you're excited about that solution. But I think time is ticking, huh?
Yep, we've got 2 more finalists to go, and now it's our penultimate team, Camilla Recover by Connexus. They're up next with their video pitch featuring an AI-driven platform with wearables that enables and empowers total knee replacement patients to improve their mobility and their quality of life. Let's watch the video.
Camilla Recover by Connexus. For more than 5,000 total knee replacement surgeries in Singapore, a large part of recovery happens at home, which puts the patients at risk of complications, suboptimal outcomes, and multiple hospital visits for full recovery. This is expensive and inconvenient. To enable enhanced recovery after surgery at home, we've introduced the Camilla Recovery Management Solution, comprising of a unique wearable device and software for remote and continuous monitoring. This allows for early detection of complications such as joint stiffness and wound issues, and provides interactive tools such as range and activity tracking and gamified exercises for patients. This intervention will result in about $700 of savings per patient, which comes from saving 1 specialist and 4 physiotherapy sessions, with an improvement in patient outcome and higher throughput for hospitals. Currently, this product has already been used by more than 80 patients at the Singapore General Hospital, achieving a high device utilization rate of 86% and more than 10 hours of average usage per patient, with 70% patients achieving their recovery targets. Product has been validated for clinical use at the Singapore Institute of Technology against the gold standard clinical data from our trials has proven that the outcomes obtained using the device help the patients achieve their range of motion and activity targets and detect wound complications early. Finally, our competitive advantage lies in both technology and market factors, such as a superior and stronger value proposition in terms of a comprehensive patient experience, improving compliance and reducing complications, and having a fully integrated, compliant and scalable solution with sales to leading global implant companies, intellectual property portfolio, and a clear path to reimbursement.
What is unique about Kinnex is that it's able to real-time measure range of motion of the patient throughout the daily activities, which other wearables are unable to do. This allows us to remote monitor the patients and therefore cut down hospital visits. Usage of the device is very simple and easily understood by the patient. With this use of device and our trial, we hope to be able to set a gold standard for outcomes of total knee replacement in the region.
That time I didn't take out, I just keep on wearing it. I always do that. 1 day, 3 times, I have that, the range, good or no good, all stated there. Very good, you see, now really good. So I can do all the instructions given by the Kimia app. I no need to go to the hospital for so many visits.
Great. Round of applause for our penultimate contestants. And we'd like to welcome Mr. Abhishek Agrawal, the co-founder and CEO of Kinexus, as well as Prof. Yeo Sing Jin, whom we also saw in the video, senior consultant from the Department of Orthopedic Surgery in SGH in SingHealth. Colin, let's get you to take away the questions for this one.
I'm going to give it the
yes,
he's wise, yeah.
Thanks very much for the exciting presentation. Just wanted to check, now that you've already test-bedded this in SGH, what do you hope to gain by this next phase of trialing in a hospital, and what happens after that?
Right. We are set to prove the health economics value of our product with our test bedding proposal, wherein we are looking at product being deployed on 200 patients, divided into 3 groups: control with no intervention, intervention which has our product and has normal number of physiotherapy sessions as well as outpatient consultation, and lastly, intervention with reduced number of visits. We are set to prove that the group with intervention and reduced number of visits has equal or better outcomes as compared to both the control with no intervention and intervention with normal number of physiotherapy and outpatient visits, and thus setting a gold standard for recovery of total knee replacement patients after surgery in the region with reduced number of visits.
And what happens after the test bed? What do you hope to achieve?
Okay, so actually we're transitioning. So when I started training, total knee replacement stayed in maybe 2-3 days. Now we're doing them as day surgery. So therefore, we want to be more efficient. SGH, as you know, is 100% full every day. So elective surgeries always get cancelled. So the advantage is that we can get the patients out faster, but they have less contact time with the physios. So right now, our physios are actually visiting at home to be able to get the same outcome. Hopefully, we can eliminate the home visits by the physio. Secondly, by the data collection, we can predict which patients need intervention. And then there'll be like automatic or AI prompting of the clinicians or the patient to see the doctor earlier. So this is, and it's scalable, because right now you're done on the knee. We do about 2,000 cases. That's in SGH. The whole of Singapore, maybe 5,000 or 6,000 cases. Then there's hip joint, ankle joint, shoulder joints. And you know, movement is life, life is movement, right? Everybody wants to keep active. And this is, I think, it's a very exciting proposition, because all the other remote devices do not give what the clinicians want.
Right, thank you, Colin. Chinan, any questions from you?
Yeah, so with this model, you're saying that it can move the rehab to the home itself. So how much of the inputs of the physios are then now needed?
I think eventually, okay, I hope there's no physio colleagues here. Eventually you want to eliminate the physio, okay. Yeah. So that the physio can spend time on stroke patients, on other patients, right? So divert resources there where they're needed.
Okay, that's one thing.
Radiologists beware.
Yeah. So then so that will also affect the use of day rehabs and those kind of things. So you're assuming that it can be done.
Yeah,
at
I think
home?
at home.
Okay.
After all, you want to transition from hospital to community to home. That's the whole idea of the trends now. So everything at home, no hospitals.
Okay, but what about potential of overextension or overuse? Because there's a feedback, right? So how do they get alerted that there is a problem?
I think the problem is under no motion rather than over motion. Like all our patients, they're very cautious. So we want to encourage motion. Yeah.
Okay, but is there an option that in case you have some overzealous?
I think overzealous is good. They recover faster.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions from any of the other judges?
Yeah, can
Yes,
I add
Alan.
another question? I guess the concept is essentially having the trackers and collecting data, right? And I guess you're focusing on the knee. Is this same concept applicable to any other recovery or any other parts?
Yes, I think it's applicable to any joint surgery. So we're focusing on one knee surgery. There's many surgeries around the knee you can do, right? Sports injuries. So we're just looking degenerative arthritis at the moment because that's our largest volume.
Okay, thank you. But basically, it can be applied to any other.
So it's scalable to any joint, and hopefully, if you want, you can sell it to like a Fitbit, right? Everybody wants to get one for, I don't know why people need a Fitbit. They don't need it, but people buy it. So it could be commercialized better.
Final questions? Eugene?
Maybe a very quick one. So I understand the rehab the model here and the post-recovery model. Is there a prehab model here?
Yes.
You can pick deterioration.
So for the patient, our specific patients, so what we know is what predicts post-op is pre-op. So actually we're trying to start the devices on the patients before surgery so that we can predict what they can get in the after surgery. Yes, yeah.
So a total of 8 weeks of usage, 2 weeks pre-op and 6 weeks post-op.
Great. Lots of future prospects as well. Any other questions from our judges? We have a little bit of time left. No? If not, then thank you very much to Seng-Jin as well as Abhishek from Kinexus. Great presentation. Yeah. And don't forget,
don't forget the leg.
Don't forget the leg. And audience, you know what to do. If you'd like to vote for Kinexus or any of the teams that have presented so far, please cast your votes now as well.
Well, I can't believe it. I'm quite excited about this. We are on to the final team. Judges, are you ready? It's been a tough morning so far, huh? I think we're about to invite the company with the most intriguing name, Bugu. And they're going to present their solution, Aspire Motion Connect, which is a wearable remote therapeutic solution using a single sensor to help patients achieve better therapy outcomes. Let's find out more through their video pitch.
Hello, my name is Gary Jin. I am the CEO of Bugu Company Limited, and I'm honored for the opportunity to present Aspire Motion Connect. Aspire Motion Connect is a wearable solution to reduce elderly falls and improve therapy. Falls are a leading cause of injury in the aging population worldwide. In Singapore, 1 in 3 over the age of 65 suffer from falls each year, with 60% requiring hospitalization. Many falls are preventable through risk identification and targeted intervention. There are 2 gaps in effective fall prevention today. First, many at-risk groups are missed, especially those with subclinical risk factors. This is because in-depth assessments are time-consuming and expensive. The second gap is a lack of physical therapy adherence. Aspire Motion Connect addresses these gaps by first, quickly identifying those in the community setting who are at risk, and second, connect those at risk with a therapist and a wearable sensor. Therapists prescribe evidence-based home exercise specific to each individual's risk factors and monitor progress remotely. This community-centric early prevention approach has the potential impact to reach thousands of elderly and deliver cost-effective prevention therapy to reduce incidence of falls. These are the objectives Bugu would like to demonstrate and validate in Singapore through the InnoMatch testbed. Our key enabling innovation is our patented and award-winning body motion analysis technology. The solution uses a single wearable sensor, machine learning, and AI methods to determine multifactorial risk factors from simple, fast, and easy-to-do tests, such as standing balance for 30 seconds, walking 30 steps, and sit-to-stand transitions. The results are validated against gold standard equipment. The device is simple to operate. Assessments can be administered by anyone with minimal training, from physicians and nurses to even elderly community volunteers. This enables rapid, accurate, and cost-effective risk stratification in community settings. It also provides objective feedback for patients and therapists to improve outcome. Early adopters in Hong Kong include public hospitals, district health centers, and community service NGOs. The solution is marketed with a subscription-based model to healthcare providers for flexibility and affordability. Our secure cloud platform based in Singapore provides a robust set of customization and data integration protocols and API. We can easily tailor and adapt to the unique needs of the diverse communities in Singapore. We want to keep our elders healthy and active. Let's all work together to keep them out of hospital walls.
I think our audience was quiet there because they're wondering, where are Gary and Vicky? Now, I'm hoping technology will not fail us as they are dialing in remotely from the US. Oh, we can see you. Wonderful. Welcome, Gary, Vicky.
Hello.
Late at night for you, huh?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Not too bad, but you're looking very fresh. Fresh and ready to meet the judges. They might be less scary from a distance. I don't know if that's likely to be true. I would like to perhaps start with Alan, if I can. Have you any questions for the team?
Yes. Hi, this is a very interesting product that you have entered for the competition. I'd just like to find out from you, because the product, in a product presentation, you mentioned that elderly volunteers will also be a target audience to operate this. So I'm just, the first question is, I guess, how easy is it to use? You have the device, you also have the app, and you have to pair it together, and you have to kind of put it on the patient, and then you have to supervise it. So the first question is, how easy is it to operate it? The second one is also related to ease of use. Is there a potential after that to be something that can be personally utilized as opposed to being supervised?
Yes, so let me answer your first question on the ease of use. The device is designed to be very simple to use by the elderly. It is paired with a mobile app. It's typically in community settings, we will have the sensors already pre-prepared to the app on mobile devices. It is a one sensor. The tests are guided through, and they can just follow simple instructions, simple prompts. So in Hong Kong, we typically do a half-an-hour training session with the elderly volunteers, and that enables them to be able to use it to screen other older adults for fall risk. And to answer your second question, there is a follow-on tool that the older adults or even their adult children can help them to use to do training and exercise at home. Again, following the very simple to use intuitive process, which is just, we have a simple start button. You put the bell on, you hit start, and off you go.
Does that satisfy your question there, Alan?
Yes, thank you. I guess another question is, since the main core technology behind it seems to be body motion analysis, does it have to be calibrated to the individual over time before you can actually detect effectively, or is actually sufficiently generalized that once you put it on, you're able to monitor the person effectively?
Yes, so we do have a calibration process. The very first second, when the patient is standing there, we measure what their trunk tilt is so that it's calibrated to their body.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Lim, any interesting questions for the team?
Hi, good evening. It's a very interesting product, but I think your product is in a very crowded space. Basically, there are a lot of similar products out in the market. Namely, you have a sensor in the form of a wearable, then you have an app, and then you predict or detect fall. So what is your unique value proposition for your product that's not found in similar product that's currently available in the market?
Our unique value proposition is that we are able to detect clinical metrics that are related to fall, that are specific, can be only detected with equipment such as force plates, 3D camera systems, or electron sensing mats. And it's because of these clinical grade metrics that we can bring into the community setting, which is super easy for the community individuals to identify risk of fall and provide early prevention. That sets apart from other devices and other wearables that are looking at more generalized metrics, for example, number of steps, calorie burn, or even range of motion oscillation. So our specific use case are, can we bring clinical grade metrics, things that you will require very expensive equipment, and bring the insights that come along with it into the community setting in order to provide value to prevent fallout in the community. I hope that helped answer your question.
Yes, thank you. Price point, what are you looking at in terms of the pricing for your product? What's your business model?
Yes, so we are priced as a subscription-based, an annual subscription-based. And typically it can be range from $300 to $500 per device per year. And this will be targeted towards the healthcare providers. Of course, if the older adults were comfortable using it and would like to purchase them outright, that's certainly an option as well. But there's definitely range which we're able to work with to accommodate the healthcare provider.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lim. Any questions from any of the other judges? Any barriers you foresee? Or Eugene is warming up here. I feel there's a power question is coming.
I was warming up the mic.
Yeah, I know.
But thank you very much for this wonderful product. Could I ask, you have done this with a few hospitals and providers in Hong Kong. What has been the proof of value of your product to those providers?
So the key proof of value for our product is that they're able to better engage the older adults. One of the key things that we want to show is early awareness. A lot of times with older adults who are at risk, they either are not aware of themselves or they're in denial. By going through using our product, they're seeing objective measures of their balance, of their gait, of their functional mobility, of their low limb strength. This is not a person telling you, the device telling you. And that's a fundamental change in perception. That's really altering to them about being more engaged in therapy, about doing better to prevent falls. So just seeing the objective data and experiencing it has been a huge proof that they're able to really be better with the therapy.
Okay, thank you. Perfect timing, that sounds like. Any last quick questions from the judges, or are we good? It's your last chance to ask. Gary and Vicky, thank you so much for dialing in. That draws to a close our last presentation, so congratulations and thank you. Audience, I think you know the routine by now. I don't need to repeat it. You have a chance to vote for the solution you've liked the best so far.
Great.
Yeah,
yep. And we've heard from all 8 finalists now. And thank you, audience, for your undivided attention so far. We're going to have a 10-minute break, a proper break this time. After the break, come back and we'll actually get to meet 2 of our finalists from last year, Articares and Root Ally, and we'll see how they've been doing over the past year since winning the previous InnoMatch. All right, so we'll see you again after the break.
We will see our judges in a little while from now, because this is the moment of truth. I do not know how you're going to manage this, judges, but they're off for their deliberations. We'll see them a little later. So have a nice 10-minute break, everyone, and judges, good luck. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. I think if I could ask everyone to take their seats. We're going to have an interesting chat now on the sofa. Joining us on stage, I'm very excited to welcome back some of last year's winners. So we have with us, you might have to help me with your surname, because I have a very awkward surname that no one can pronounce. And when I read yours, I also was struggling to remember how you'd pronounced it. So I'm going to call you Dr. Gabriel, but would you care to read out your full name for me?
Yes, so my surname, there are very few people in the world who can pronounce it correctly.
You've made me feel so much better now.
It's Aguirre Ollinger.
Okay.
All right. We'll leave
Thank
you
you.
with that.
It's-
Spanish plus German.
You're going to teach me this later, okay? So I'm going to call him Dr. Gabriel. You're the manager in R&D from RT Cares.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you, one of last year's winners. And sitting next to you, we have Mr. Amit Jindal, the founder and CEO of Root Ally. And we have Ms. Farah Nadia, the co-founder and CPO from Root Ally. So welcome all of you. It's a delight to have you here. Well, I bet it's nicer to be here this year, not facing the judges. How did it feel last year? Maybe let us know how these guys over here are feeling. What do you think they're going through? Oh, Gabriel was up for it. You enjoyed the challenge, huh?
Yeah. So it was a pretty challenging, I would say, stressing time. It was also exciting because we felt quite confident about the value of our proposal, but then we were also quite impressed by what the other teams had brought. So in the end, we realized, okay, however this turns out, it's going to be a real challenge for the judges.
So it was really validating for you. So I think that's wonderful. How about for you? Does it feel a relief not to be facing the judges?
I think definitely. Luckily, last year was Zoom, so it was not that.
You're in your pajamas.
So I guess like last year there were 4 companies, so we were I guess more early stage. So I guess when we entered the meeting and seeing the other finalists, we were like, okay, we are not gonna make it. So, but it was quite surprising that we got chosen for the top 3, and now at test bidding, we've been working quite well with SGH, and it's great to be here.
Well, that sounds like a beautiful segue, but yes.
Indeed, yes. And for the audience who may not be familiar with your solutions, maybe Gabriel, you could tell us first, give us a little summary of what RT Cares is about.
Sure. So we are a company that produces technologies for rehabilitation outside the hospital.
Yeah.
What we developed is devices, especially robotic devices that can be used by patients either in community centers or at home. And we're in the process of integrating this solution with a telerehabilitation component, so that the device people are using in their home is linked up with the therapist remotely through a web-based application, so that they can monitor the patient's progress in real time and eventually make adjustments to the therapy on the fly.
All right, great, thank you. And to the team from Root Ally, you're also in the tele-rehabilitation sort of world. So maybe you could tell us in a short form style what your solution's about.
Sure. So our solution helps patients do their therapy exercises at home. So basically, we use patient's smartphone camera to track their body movements without any variable, helping, I guess, patients to be more compliant with their exercises and give a more information to the physicians on how patients are doing their exercises. Are they doing it regularly, and helping them recover faster? So yeah.
Right. It looks like both of them could have actually taken part this year as well.
Yes, I know. Yeah. But I'm really interested. I bet there are people in the audience or at home who are thinking, I voted for you. I used my power button last year for these 2, and they'd be dying to know how you've got on in the intervening period. So what's happened? What have been the highlights, and what have been those things that made you bang your head against the wall? You know, maybe Gabriel would like to share a little bit about how the past year has gone.
Sure. Well, the past year, and especially this last 6 months, have been quite intense because, well, we started deploying and test bedding in February. We concluded our test bedding in July, and yeah, it was stressing at times, but we also had, I think, pretty positive outcomes. So it was certainly a confidence booster, because our primary objective wasn't really to do a sort of mini clinical trial. We're already past that stage, but it was really a test on the level of compliance that we wanted, because we have pretty much advertised, okay, you could get up to 3 times the amount of therapy that people get by going to the hospital, and it turns out we actually were on target. So this was definitely, you know, a confidence booster.
I was on a webinar yesterday with your team, as well as some of our users NHG, and there's also great interest from the other clusters as well. So I think that the testbed's going very well. So congratulations.
Thanks.
The main question is also that, again, that cost question, cost analysis. How cost effective will it be given your current structure? Any thoughts about that? How do you intend to move ahead with the cost issue?
Yeah, so the main strength of the system is that it only demands a fraction of the therapist's time that's required by in-clinic therapy, because practically the whole of the rehabilitation is done by the patient on their own at home in their own time, and they only need minimal face-to-face interaction with the therapist. So one branch is the reduction in the demands on therapist time and therapist cost. And the other thing is the increase in intensity. So we're talking that the same amount of exercise that people would get in three months of therapy now can be compressed into a single month. So those are the two sources of cost reduction.
Great. Right.
Wonderful.
And also, obviously, your solution's been trialed in other countries as well. I need to ask you, what's it like trialing it in Singapore versus other countries? What's the difference in experience? Please be frank.
Well, yes, so we have deployed the system, for example, in Germany and Italy, and currently in Australia. The deployment in the other countries is still what we call the self-contained robot unit, in which people either use it in their own home, but without the telerehabilitation component. So this Singapore trial is the first time we have tried the whole integrated robot plus telerehab. But the immediate discovery is that the combination of exercising at home plus maintaining the link with the therapist, both are important to keep people motivated. So we're talking about therapy on a daily basis, not just twice per week.
Well, I think let's find out a little bit about your experiences, guys, at the end here. Has it been similar, frustrations and highlights?
Yeah, I think we have been pretty busy for the past year, especially in the last 6 months or so, because SGH, with us, we are currently undergoing the test bidding. With SGH, inpatient and outpatient orthopedic patients, namely the TKR and shoulder patients. Definitely in the initial stages, because like Amit mentioned, it was an early stage product. We had to really fine-tune it to meet the needs of the clinicians in SGH, and that kept us on our feet for a while. Definitely learning the ropes of building a health tech solution, and also looking at how to customize it according to the needs of the patient population. So it has been exciting, and definitely the clinicians at SGH has been very helpful in assisting us throughout the journey with them. And it has actually opened up more avenues for us to look ahead in the future as to how we want to take the product forward.
I'm loving that bit, because this is my space. Yeah, you're doing human-centered research to make the product stronger. So was there anything in particular you learned during that? I think that's why the test bedding in a live setting is so valuable, huh? Is there anything in particular unexpected that came out of that process?
I think, yes, definitely, because when we developed the product, generically, we were looking at solving a musculoskeletal conditions at large. Right, but as we were doing the test bidding, we realized that with different diagnostic groups within the musculoskeletal population, there are various needs, and not every patient would enjoy the product similarly, and therefore we need to ensure that basically we customize it to meet the most of the population. And if, let's say, with musculoskeletal conditions, one of the issues that most of them face is pain. And pain is a subjective emotion at times. How do we then objectively use the app to monitor pain then? So these are a few learning points that we have actually gained throughout our experience.
Thank you.
Wish we had more time. So interesting from both of you.
Well, maybe with the last 10 seconds each, you've got to this year's contestants there. What would you like to say to them?
Any advice?
Yes.
I think our learning from the test bedding would be to, before starting the test bedding, having a UAT more effective. So that can kind of help you identify issues before you start doing the test bedding with live patients. So I think that would be my advice.
Great. Thank you. And Gabriel, your advice for this year's winners?
Well, think of this as a super fast data collection exercise. So this is your opportunity to get a lot of your questions answered, not just on the clinical side, which you have already kind of mastered to a great degree, but you have to be thinking about pricing, about the logistics, about your whole business operation. This is the right time to address those questions.
Fantastic, great advice. Thank you very much to the teams from Articare's Root Ally. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Invite you back to your seats. All right, and now let's call upon all of our 8 finalists onto the long red sofa that you see here. And while the reps from the finalist teams take their seats, let's also pull up the audience polling results based on your votes so far. Let's have a look. Wow. All right, it looks like we've got 2 clear horses out in the lead, FathomX as well as Presage.
So the audience favourite, this may not be reflected in the judges' votes, remember, but it would be interesting to see how the end results play out. Okay.
Fantastic.
This, to our finalists, I will look forward to having them all on stage because I act kind, but I'm actually a very mean person. I'm a teacher, you know, so I have to push people. This is your last chance, ladies and gentlemen, to get the audience on your side. I've pre-warned you about this. They're all looking at me with hatred. Yeah, this is just like my students. You're going to have a very, very quick 15-second opportunity to let the audience know why they should vote for you. What is your unique value proposition? So perhaps look at this earnest face. Look at this look of fear. All the pressure is lying on the shoulders. Perhaps you'd like to give a quick pitch for your solution. Why should the audience vote for you?
All right, this is Newcom, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Deep breath.
If you have someone in your life that fall into a dark place because of stress, anxiety, depression, and you wish that you just need to press the buttons and you can lift them out from the dark place, that's Newcom. We will be able to help. Work for us. Help us to proliferate. Help to save your loved one. Help us to serve every Singaporean and help us to serve humanity. Thank you.
Oh,
Humanity,
okay, well
thank
done.
you. All right.
Well, that was a power start. Well, no wonder you were in the zone. Okay. Okay. Pressure on, no pressure. Next we have FathomX.
Hartman from FathomX, yes.
So, hi. Breast cancer is the most common cancer in women. The diagnosis is made using mammograms. The problem is that breast radiologists they're a scarce entity and mammograms are inherently very difficult to read. So we're offering a state-of-the-art solution using an AI-based solution to create a world-class diagnosis of breast cancer that we will be able to provide to women across this continent. Thank you.
Well, okay,
Thank you very
another
much.
great story. You can pass it on. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Us
Two
to
powerful
AI
starts,
next. Yes.
Hi, everyone. If you knew you had a 1 in 3 chance of dying of cardiovascular disease and therapeutics were available, if caught early enough, wouldn't you want to get your heart screened? The problem is GPs cannot do this screening, which leads to long waiting times from third world to first, sometimes to up to over a year in places like the UK. Us too help solve this problem with AI, analyzing echo images, producing a complete report to give everyone access to their heart health.
Oh,
Great.
okay,
Thank you.
well,
A direct appeal to your hearts.
I'm so sorry for the rest of you. The standard is so high, right? Good luck. Rachel.
Okay. Parents all understand how difficult it is to get kids to take their medication, let alone an inhaler. But effective and consistent medication are key to a better quality of life. The WIS delivers care beyond the hospital walls and into the homes
by providing patients with, by guiding patients through their treatment journey while providing doctors with valuable data. Thank you.
Wonderful, Rachel. So you're in the next, you're leading in the polls. Can you extend your lead even further? Yeah.
Falls is a critical danger, especially for elderlies, right? At some point in time, we will have to deal with the risk of falling for our parents, our grandparents. We want peace of mind, right? For additional preemptive care. Presage can keep your loved ones safe. Thank you. Vote for us.
Thank you. Ivan, your turn.
Thank you. Yeah. So, exercise is medicine, and you can support a lot of these other chronic diseases that we face. But at the same time, it's challenging. So, if you, our scientists have spent decades of research unlocking the potential of exercise as medicine. So, if you want to come and sit, click, get fit, come and look for us. Thank you.
And Mr. Abhishek, last to go.
Chemia recovered by Kinexus reduces the risk of complications and inconvenience of hospital visits, and also increases efficiency for healthcare providers. After all the fun for all the seniors is at home.
Wonderful, right. Thank you. And I think the audience would agree that if we could combine all 8 solutions into one big app, that would probably solve all our health problems. Singapore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Huh?
Great.
I don't know if Bugu are able to dial in with their quick pitch.
Is
No.
Bugu coming in for their pitch as well? Yes, they
Yes.
are.
Oh,
All
they
right.
are.
Okay,
Great.
great. Okay,
15
off
seconds,
you
yeah.
go.
So we want to prevent elderly falls in Singapore and beyond, and we believe Aspire Motion Connect can achieve that by providing an end-to-end solution. We want to bring clinical metrics into the community to identify individuals at risk and engaging them with preventive therapy.
Oh,
Thank you,
short and
Bugu.
sweet. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you very much.
That was lovely, huh?
That was great because we wanted to see what an elevator pitch really sounds like from the CEOs and the leaders.
I'm
right?
going to take this to my class because I always say to them, you should be able to get your message across in less than 30 seconds. You all did a great job. Can we have one more big round of applause?
Right. Not easy at all. We've seen 3 or 4 years of innovation challenges like what we had today. We're really gratified that the solutions and the quality's really gone through the roof over the years.
Fantastic.
So thank you very much.
I know. I'm worried the judges won't come back actually before 12 o'clock because I think they'll be really struggling. I would be. But let's find out if the audience were able to make a decision. You have 15 seconds left. Audience online, audience here in the auditorium. 15 seconds left to make your vote. Make it count. Let's see if we can see the numbers change. Oh, it's so exciting. Fingers on those phones.
Doesn't seem to be moving. Do
I
we see
feel-
any percentages
I feel
changing
the
at all?
last plea for vote for us worked well.
Great.
We have to wait for the music to stop, then we know time is up.
Yes.
Any more votes to go? Anyone want to change their vote?
Some changes, a little edging here and there.
I think this feels like more than 15 seconds.
Yes.
Well, I think that probably does tell us that the audience have made their decision, Hontin.
Yes. All right. Should we give a round of applause to our winner, Presage by Connect? Yep. And we've got the prizes for them.
Oh.
All right.
We do have a prize. We were a little worried, weren't we, in case we had like a triple tie.
That's
but
right.
Here we go. Congratulations.
All right. Great.
There we go. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And to FathomX, also congrats to a very, very strong
Very
runner-up
close.
there. All right, but again, for the rest of you, thank you very much. I think obviously the audience, some things speak to the audience and some things will speak to the judges, and we'll find out in the next few minutes as well.
Yeah, because the needs are different, of course. For
Yeah.
the audience at home, they're really looking at things that connect with their lives. So fantastic, that's resonated.
Yeah.
For the rest of the participants, actually, the healthcare systems may be looking for something with different approach. So I'm not trying to dull your shine. But the game is still wide open.
Indeed, yes. So we're getting lots of messages from our team here that the judges are still hard fighting. I hope there are no fist fights, but I hope they're hard at work in the deliberation room. They need a little bit more time, right? So we're going to actually ask them a few questions.
It's a win-win for us, because the longer they're out there, we get more time to chat, and I love chatting, so that's good.
Great.
So, yeah.
Shall we start with Newcom then? All right. So I think one of the main things was that your solution is definitely commercially available. I could get it from probably online or a retailer in the future. What's your market going to be? Do you think that that's going to be the main source, or do you think that approaching big healthcare providers like the judges that you saw here, is that the way forward for your solution?
Going through the hospitals and big healthcare providers will be the path forwards.
Right.
Yeah, it helps us to proliferate in the market and helps us to reduce the stigmas. Rather than people trying to buy online anonymously and hide at home to use it, we want it to liberate it. That's why we have a non-medical suite available for everyone.
Right.
I feel like, some people you meet that are destined to work in their field.
Yes.
You have the most calming voice. So don't you know? I'd listen to you and say, oh, I already feel quite calm. I might phone you later and say, oh, I'm struggling to sleep. Let's have a chat. So yeah, has anyone told you that before? Your voice is very calming?
Nope.
Oh, you heard it here first. Okay.
Yours is the only solution that sort of addresses mental health in this year's competition in a way. So what has your sort of take been on mental health, especially post-pandemic? Is there a greater need, a realization for the need for that?
Oh, I guess. During the pandemics, we really see a rise in mental health issues. Even when the kids transit to home-based learning, put a great stress on me. Right. I practically hunt for every single space I have at home to do my work. Right. So it affects everyone, and a tool for everyone to use whenever they need it, wherever they can. Right. Will be helpful.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Maybe come along to Fathom X.
Yes.
Prof. Hartman, I wonder, in the journey you've had so far, have there been moments that really made you realize this absolutely is the path we need to be on? Having run businesses myself and set up things, sometimes we reach that point and think, why am I bothering? It feels like endless struggles. Yeah, I think we heard from Carolyn earlier, oh, I have the battle scars to prove that I've got all this verification. Have there been those moments that made you think, despite the challenges, this is why I know this needs to come to fruition?
Well, so I'm a clinician. I'm a computer imbecile sitting here representing an AI solution that is, we hope, revolutionizing healthcare for breast cancer. To me, the epiphany moment was actually the iPhone. Now, when I picked up my iPhone and I realized that in the photo gallery, I mean, it was a number of years ago, all of a sudden it was able to distinguish who was who in pictures where it really was quite obscure that this was one of my sons. I have 3 kids, and they had partitioned them. And so I realized at that point in time, holy crap, computer vision actually works. And then came a dream challenge from the White House, which made it possible. It actually was a dream. It was compute data available, and a challenge to win $1 million. That became the moment where I realized, okay, it's time for us to try to make an impact in women's health.
That's amazing, and I love those real human stories that we can relate to, where that motivation and potential impact came from.
Great, thank you.
Fascinating.
Right, us two. Next, James. I've also been involved in AI development for diabetic retinopathy screening, and you're using your solution now for a cardiovascular disease. What's it like to actually convince clinicians, in particular, the end users, that this is going to be as good or maybe even better than them, and therefore please get our solution? What's that like?
Well, we've noticed that cardiologists are a particularly skeptical breed of...
Right, you're working with one, you know that, right? Okay, right, okay.
There are exceptions.
All right.
So we found that, frankly, the best sales tool is just to put the app in their hands.
Right.
They use it, they see it, and that's when their eyes get big and they see the potential.
Right. So right in front of them, demonstrating its value in front of them. Great,
exactly.
Fantastic. Should we take one more question?
Yes, I know. I have questions for all of you, but we've seen who's come back into the room. It's like
oh yes, that's right.
Father Christmas arriving on Christmas Day, right? Rachel, I'm just fascinated because I love the fact, and I'm grateful to Eugene for asking you about the design of the product. And it was so wonderful to see you really brought human-centered design principles in. I'm from Design Singapore Council. I have to ask these questions. Yeah. Well, you know, what drew you to reach that point, to recognise there was a need to really understand how it can conveniently fit into people's lives that way?
I guess we worked with two very important groups of people in the development. First, the clinicians, they want the data, the hard science. But we also worked with the parents and the children. And from there, we understand what their needs are. And perhaps to also produce something that's more appealing to them. I think the lights that we produce, it's a gamification in the sense that the kids actually see it as a toy as well. So we put something that they dislike with something that they like. So we're hoping through that, it's also an encouragement to keep to their medication more consistently.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. And I was grateful to Eugene for asking me that question, because that really is where we get to the win-win point. So yes, wow, thank you all for sharing your wonderful stories. I'm so sorry we didn't get to the end of the bench.
Right. So the judges are back. Thank you very much. Please remain seated. And could I invite all our judges back on stage as well, please?
Makes sense.
Okay, great. Well, I'm sure everyone's very excited. I have the envelope, and I kind of know the results. But we want, first of all, to know what happened in that room back there, what went through our judges' minds. I don't see any physical injuries. I do feel a sense of camaraderie still amongst all 6 judges. So could we invite Colin to give us a little bit of a taster of what went on in that room and what were the key considerations the judges took?
Hi, okay, great, works. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to be part of this judging panel. Wanted to make 3 points. The first one is really a big shout out to everybody who applied for this competition and to the organizers. So I was a judge last year, and I have to say the quality, the energy level of this has gone up tremendously. So big thank you to one and all, especially Che Heng, Mel, and their team for organizing this. Second, we thought we were late, and for those of you, when we were in the room, the organizers were chasing us to quickly get to a decision, so to not keep the rest of you waiting. So there was some relief that when we came out, you guys were still having your own discussion. But that really reflects that we had quite a lot of internal debate as to who the winners ought to be. And then my third point, and this is somewhat ironic, but the companies that were not chosen was not because you guys weren't good, but because, in a sense, you were beyond the test bedding stage. The companies that were not selected, we actually thought were ready to go to the market already. So for the companies, and I don't want to say the number to not spoil the surprise, even if you didn't get this one, please approach some of us. We've got some ideas as to how to help you to take it to that next level, because we think you are more market ready. Okay, we're back. With that, hand back to Tim. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Colin. That's an insight into the judges' minds. And again, thank you for the kind words. So there are no losers here. In fact, losers were probably too advanced for this competition.
Yeah, I like that. They're all yay sayers, yeah? So everyone's a winner today. Thank you so much, judges. Thank you. You're right. We were still full flow in a chat. We could have kept going, but I'm glad that you narrowed down. So the moment of truth we all want to know, huh? With the audience correct? Well, we're about to find out.
Here we go. All right, so let's reveal all the pairings, and I can say that there are 6 winners. There are 6 winners this year, double the number from last year. Let's start off with inviting the DYG CEO from SingHealth. Chenan, could you come to the center of the stage? And we'll see which are the companies that have been successfully paired with SingHealth. All right. That's our high-tech
Yeah,
pairing
the
mechanism.
obligatory check.
Yes, okay. All right, the first company that will be paired with SingHealth is Kinexis.
Well done.
Congratulations to Abhishek and his team, yes. That's great. Do you have a mic? Go to the mic, please. Fantastic. Abhishek, could we just get some words from you? What do you feel? How do you feel now? Do you have a mic on the couch? Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I just have to share that we started working on this problem out of a personal experience with my father living with a spine problem for the last 25 years and my mother recently being diagnosed with knee arthritis. So it's very close to my heart, and the winners really are the patients and the doctors who really accept what we are there to, offer them. And we are very, very thankful for them to be able to work with them and add value to their practice and their lives, basically.
Great.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Thank you.
What a wonderful story.
Yeah, it's lovely. For you too.
You too. Yeah. They've actually taken it. Thank you.
It's okay. I think you can keep it. You get to keep you get to keep the check, I'm sure. In the olden days, we used to have big paper checks, and now we don't have checks anymore. So, okay. We do have a second pair. We do have a second pairing for SingHealth. So, it gives me great pleasure to announce that the second partner to get to testbed their solution in SingHealth is, drum roll, Newcom. Congratulations. Oh, on Tim.
Sorry.
Perhaps you'd like to share a few words of what this means and what you're looking forward to in your very calm voice.
Stress affects all of us. Singapore is a high stress density country, and we see how it affects every one of us in this pandemic. Very grateful for the opportunities, really, really grateful to give us the chance to serve every Singaporeans, Singaporeans, and help us to serve humanity. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much, Chenan. Thank you as well.
Thank you. So
Great.
I think we are looking to invite Song Kim onto the stage now to get your own big cardboard check. I'm going to put this down there for a second. Thank you. Oh, here we come. We are going to find out who the pairing is for NUHS. Will there be one? Will there be two? We're about to find out. Oh, I think we know there's two because there's 6 winners. Okay.
That's right.
Oh, I was trying to build some more suspense there, but I didn't do such a good job. Okay. The first team to be paired with NUHS is... Okay, it is Q2X. QTX. And I'm keeping it short because it's such a long word. Congratulations.
I'll get it.
There we go.
Okay, Ivan, tell us, how do you feel now?
Okay, thank you. I think today is really a testament to collaboration between the different clusters, between different private entities and as well as public institutions. I'm really proud to be part of this finalists, and I think it's really these collaborations we have in Singapore that will make the difference in how we handle healthcare in the long term. So look forward to partnering and doing more with the rest of the ecosystem as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. Congratulations. Okay. Song Kim, I have another check coming your way.
Right. So the second team that's going to be paired with NUHS, Fathom X.
Oh, congratulations. Thank you. Perhaps I could ask you for a few words to build upon the earlier one. Thank you.
So we're proud and excited to be able to do this clinical implementation is inherently really difficult, and we're being grown and coming from Singapore. We really would like to have our footprint here, so we're excited to be able to do this here in Singapore.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Song Kim. Congratulations to all the teams so far. Connexus, Newcom, Q2X, and FathomX. We've got 2 more to go. And I'd now like to call upon Dr. Eugene So from NHG, and we'll see which finalists are being paired with NHG. The first finalist is Presage.
Oh, congratulations. Yes. So the audience called it correctly.
That's right, audience favorite judges. Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your vote of confidence. Thank you for your belief in Presage. It's a momentous milestone for us.
Oh.
Finally speechless. Finally she's speechless.
Thank you. Let the journey begin.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The second company to be paired with NHG, and that would be Us2AI. We've got a good surprise. SingHealth has also put up their hands for Us2AI, so they're going to have another test bed there as well. Great. Mike.
Congratulations. Maybe you would like to say a few words. This is a surprise outcome there.
Sure. Thank you so much. For startups everywhere, we're faced with so many challenges, and especially those like the companies here who are really going for moonshot vision. So at every stage we need support. And I'm just so grateful for this support from you gentlemen. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. What a wonderful moment for all of you.
What an amazing morning that's been. Can we have a big round of applause for the all winners today? So a huge achievement to have made it this far. And I think, as we heard earlier, everyone a winner. There is an offer there for all the teams to take their solutions out to market. Singapore, all of us benefit from this, so thank you. Congratulations to all involved. Thank you to everyone involved in this. Thank you so much to all of our judges. You've been fantastic. It's been really interesting.
Can we have a round of applause for our 6 gentlemen here, please?
Thank you very much.
Right. Not an easy job at all. All right.
And it also goes without saying, this innovation challenge wouldn't have happened without support from a number of different organizations and individuals. We'd like to thank SingHealth, NUHS, NHG, Temasek Foundation, Ministry of Health, ALPS and IHIS. Also, special thanks to all the collaborating partners and agencies that have been involved behind the scenes.
Yeah, you can see them on the wall there.
Yes, congratulations. And thank you. So, my highlight of the year is drawing to a close. I do love coming to InnoMatch, and its previous rendition, which was Lions Lair. This draws the morning to a close, this year's InnoMatch challenge to a close.
Right.
Tim, any final words?
Yes, we should say thank you to the audience as well. Thank you to the wonderful audience in the auditorium. And thank you also to our home audience and our office audiences online as well. So before you go, audience online, do rate our session today. Time to vote for us, the entire event, by hovering once again over the audience power button on your screen and look for that poll tab, that same poll tab. And while the audience who's live with us here, please scan the QR code and give us a very, very good rating, please, so that we can carry on next year.
Oh, no bias, no bias.
No, none at all.
5 out of 5.
So once again, thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you all again this year for the 4th and final installment of CHI Innovate's conference series for this year. That's the flagship event that's going to take place on the 4th of November, back here in this auditorium again. So Tamsin, thank you again for joining us. It's been wonderful pairing up with you as usual.
Pleasure.
Right.
Country and rock and roll, we say.
Indeed, indeed. And see you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well done, everyone.